You are about to see how $5 worth of stems in a single bud vase can look more expensive than a $200 arrangement from a fancy florist. If you have ever walked past a bouquet at the grocery store and thought that looked sad and lonely in a vase, stick around because I am about to change the way you look at flowers forever. Before we get into it, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because on Home Intel we post budget-friendly design content every single week that makes your home look like $1,000,000 without spending one. Let us get into it. Why bud vases are having a moment in 2026. Interior trends in 2026 have moved away from the tightly packed, perfectly round European-style bouquet and towards something quieter and more intentional. Designers are calling this the editorial flower moment. It borrows heavily from Ikebana-influenced styling, where a single stem is placed to highlight its own natural shape instead of being buried inside a dense cluster. Instead of one big centerpiece, you scatter several small bud vases across a table, shelf, or windowsill. This is not just prettier, it is also cheaper. Fewer stems per vase means one small bunch of flowers can be spread across 5 or 6 vases instead of crammed into one container. The look feels curated and expensive because it mirrors how high-end event stylists and boutique hotels style their spaces, using single-stem moments instead of full clusters. The real cost breakdown. Let us talk numbers because that is what this channel is all about. A single grocery store bouquet typically runs between $8 and $15 and usually contains anywhere from 6 to 10 stems depending on the season and where you shop. Instead of dumping that entire bouquet into one vase, you're going to break it up. That one bouquet can realistically fill 4 to 6 small bud vases. Compare that to buying a pre-made luxury arrangement, which can run anywhere from $60 to $200 depending on where you live. You are getting the same visual impact of having flowers in multiple spots in your home for a fraction of the price. Choosing the right vases. You do not need matching crystal vases to make this work. In fact, the opposite is true. The most luxurious-looking bud vase arrangements right now are built from mismatched vessels that share one common thread, whether that is color, material, or shape family. Think thin glass bottles, small ceramic vases, even repurposed items like empty olive oil bottles or vintage juice glasses. Thrift stores and dollar stores are gold mines for this. Look for anything with a narrow neck, because that is what naturally holds 1 or 2 stems upright and gives you that architectural single-stem look that designers love. Picking flowers that photograph expensive. Not all flowers are created equal when it comes to looking luxurious on camera or in real life. Ranunculus and anemones tend to photograph as more expensive than a standard carnation or a tightly packed chrysanthemum, even when they cost about the same at the store. Their delicate, winding stems and high petal counts naturally look sculptural, while denser flowers can flatten out visually. Greenery is your best friend, too. A few sprigs of eucalyptus, ivy, or even a single fern frond tucked next to a bloom instantly elevates the whole look and costs next to nothing, since you can often snip it from your own yard or a neighbor's hedge. The one stem rule. Here is the secret most people get wrong. One flower. Maybe 2 if they are small and delicate, like pairing a sprig of baby's breath with a single ranunculus. That restraint is what looks intentional. Stuffing 5 stems into a narrow neck vase just looks crowded. Let each vase breathe. Give each flower room to be the star of its own tiny stage. Grouping for maximum impact. While each vase holds very little on its own, the real luxury effect comes from grouping several vases together at varying heights. Cluster 3 to 7 vases down the center of a dining table, along a mantel, or on a bathroom counter. Stick to odd numbers. This is not just a styling preference. It is a well-known psychological principle in design. Humans naturally read odd-numbered groupings as more organic and dynamic, while even numbers tend to look stiff and overly symmetrical. Vary the heights so your eye travels up and down the grouping instead of landing flat. The same layered effect you see in high-end hotel lobbies and upscale table settings. Color theory on a budget. You do not need a rainbow of colors to look luxurious. Honestly, a rainbow often reads as cheaper. Stick to a tight color palette of 2 to 3 tones, ideally ones that already exist in your room. like a throw pillow, a piece of art, or your kitchen backsplash. Monochromatic arrangements read as incredibly high-end because they mimic the restrained palettes used in boutique hotels and upscale restaurants. A cluster of vases all in shades of blush and cream, or all in deep burgundy and green, will look far more expensive than a mixed bouquet using every color in the store. Extending the life of your arrangement. Since you are working with fewer stems per vase, you actually have an opportunity to make your flowers last longer and stretch your budget even further. Change the water every 2 to 3 days and trim the stems at an angle each time. That angled cut increases the surface area for water absorption, which keeps stems hydrated longer. Keep vases away from direct sunlight and heat vents. Adding a tiny drop of bleach or the floral preservative packet that often comes free with grocery store bouquets kills the bacteria that cause premature decay and can extend freshness by several extra days. Because each vase only holds 1 or 2 stems, you can easily swap out individual flowers as they fade without disturbing the whole display. Hardier varieties like ranunculus can genuinely keep your overall arrangement looking fresh for 2 to 3 weeks instead of just 1. Where to source flowers for less? Grocery stores are not your only option in 2026. Local flower farms and farmers markets often sell seconds or slightly imperfect stems at a steep discount, and these imperfections disappear once you isolate a single stem in a bud vase. Wholesale flower districts, if you have one nearby, sell in bulk, but splitting an order with a friend or a neighbor can cut your cost per stem dramatically. And do not underestimate your own backyard or a walk around the block. A single branch of flowering dogwood, a few sprigs of rosemary, or 1 stem of hydrangea can be the star of an entire vase and costs absolutely nothing. Common mistakes that cheapen the look. The biggest mistake is using a vase that is too wide for the stem, which causes the flower to flop over instead of standing tall. The second mistake is leaving too much stem visible above the rim, which throws off the proportions. The standard rule in floral design is that flower height should sit at about 1.5 to 2 times the height of the vase, never more. The third mistake is mixing too many textures or colors in a single cluster, which creates visual chaos instead of the calm, curated look you are going for. To recap the formula that makes this look expensive on a budget, start with 1 grocery store bouquet, break it into individual stems, gather a mismatched collection of narrow neck vases, stick to 1 flower per vase with maybe a sprig of greenery, group your vases in odd numbers at varying heights, and keep your color palette tight. That combination is what separates a thrown-together arrangement from one that looks like it came from a 5-star hotel lobby. That is the full breakdown on how to make budget-friendly bud vase arrangements look genuinely luxurious in 2026. If this helped you see flowers in a whole new way, give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment telling me what color palette you're going to try first, and subscribe to Home Intel for more honest, no-fluff design content every week. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.